next, I want to introduce you all the way from beautiful California, Raj Gupta, the Senior Director in IT from Flex. Raj, welcome.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Thanks for having me.
Okay, now you're going to bring me down a rat hole. I'm looking at your footballs behind you, Raj.
Yeah, we've got one from Super Bowl 50. So I'm originally from Denver. So that game was played here in the beautiful Bay Area. So Denver, we claim that as our home field sometimes. We got our football there. So, and then the other one, actually, Ronnie Lott signed at a Thoughtspot conference a few years ago. So
I remember that. So that was in Washington, D.C.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, great. And maybe I should ask, who did you root for on Sunday then?
I was a neutral observer on this year.
Neutral.
Just cheering for a good game, which we didn't get, but I think.
Well, I don't know. Tampa would say it was a great game.
Yeah, of course. Yes, it was. For them, it was.
Yes. Well, Packers fans, so I don't know. Whatever. And anyway, on to the next topic. So, Raj, for those who are not familiar with Flex, tell us a little bit about Flex.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Cindy. So, Raj Gupta here, Senior Director at IT. So, Flex is a global technology and supply chain manufacturing company. We partner with customers around the world, really to make the world a better place. That's kind of our motto. We were recently recognized by Fortune 2021 as one of the world's most admired companies, really driven by our focus on social responsibility, global competitiveness, and use of our corporate assets. We're located across, over 30 countries, operating in, almost every industry you can think of: automotive, healthcare, networking. It goes on. I can go on for a long time in this type of industries we've operated. I'm primarily responsible for the financial reporting and intelligence, but in addition, I'm responsible for helping proliferate and expand Thoughtspot to the rest of the organization, to also make their world a better place. All right, and really drive data-driven decisions.
Yeah, so I love that motto, making the world a better place and using data behind it. But, Flex, Raj, you were an early adopter of Thoughtspot. What was the key reason you brought it in, and how did you make the business case, given that you already have so many other BI tools?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? We're flooded with BI tools, as some of our users would say, but really Thoughtspot, came in at a perfect time for us, right? Being a global company across 30 countries, right? What we've seen is a lot of, disruption in the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Increased regionalization, driving the need for rapid simulations, the supply, the shorter product life cycles, the customization of product lines, right, where each customer is not necessarily, you can't just put a bread and butter cookie around it. And as we've seen the last few months, accelerated. It was there before, but it's been definitely accelerated with the pandemic. A constrained marketplace, right? Component shortages, impact, and of course we've seen in the last few years impact on trade and tax policy. So Thoughtspot was there at a perfect time for us to get the better visibility, right, into the data at a faster rate, right? I heard somebody say months and months of dashboards, right? That's where Thoughtspot came in, and it became days and weeks, right? Because you get to the visibility, you can connect multiple data sets, which was a continuous ask for us, right? Is how do I get data sets connected in an ad hoc manner, right? Nobody wants to, I called it ping pong or table tennis, right? Where our users were always kind of, being in IT, some of my developers got upset with me when I was like, we don't necessarily need to be always receiving and doing a customization, right? Let the users do a lot of it on their own, right? We can be the backbone of making sure the data is accurate, making sure it's, available at the time and need of the user, depending on the data source. I used to use a phrase, right? We need to have the data ready at the speed of a tweet, right? That's been kind of.
Oh, I love that. At the speed of a tweet. I like that.
And so, yeah, so that was kind of our, the driving force of, we need something that we can move faster, that can keep the conversation going, right? We always used to get into a manner of, you have a dashboard that was presented or a prepared or a PowerPoint, but then the next question would be asked in the meeting. And you'd say, I'll come back with that answer, right? Or let me come back to you with that data. And the user probably had it, but they maybe not feel, want to disrupt the meeting or get it behind the scenes. Or maybe they don't want to, maybe ensure that it's the right data point. where ThoughtSpot allows the conversation to keep going. I think they call it conversational analytics, right?
Yeah.
Where getting all those people back in the room at a future point may be impossible, right? So if somebody asks a question on a dashboard or a pinboard, right, our finance users, being a finance guy, used to say, "Oh, Excel allows me to jump from pinboard to pin or tab to tab." And I said, "Well, now you can jump from pinboard to pinboard, and now you can drill, and you can do your discovery, real time in the meeting, just like you would do kind of in an Excel nature." And that kind of flipped the switch.
Great, great. And so just to clarify for people who don't know the product, a pinboard is the term we use for a dashboard, but you're pinning it rather than building it, and anyone can create them. So you started, Raj, with working capital. You brought it into the finance organization. How have you expanded beyond that to also bringing it to supply chain?
Yeah, so one of the driving forces with the Spot IQ engine, really because the supply chain was a little bit more mature in their analytics capabilities, but one of the main driving forces was they're really excited about the Spot IQ and of course the ad hoc piece of it, right? So being across 30 countries of so many industries, we have a lot of inventory and a lot of components. So, there's only so much you can kind of present on a dashboard in some of the other tools, right? Where this team was really excited where you could, have the granularity to drill up and down, real time. In addition to the ability for Spot IQ to kind of provide some insights on where they should go focus, narrow down, out of our, 100 plus sites and factories, and 1,000 plus customers, where is the actual focus points on, where we need to move some of the inventory, where are we having shortages, where we need to take, a response to maybe if there's some type of environmental issue. And I think that really changed the game for them.
Great. So to clarify, Spot IQ is the no-code component in ThoughtSpot that generates the insights, the questions that you didn't know you even had, to tell you what are the outliers at a very granular level.
Yeah, sorry, I'm using some of the lingo.
Oh, no, that's fine. I'm sure afterwards people will be like, what is this? But just to make sure. And I know that given the way business has changed in the last year, you also are applying one of these trends, again, a pioneer here, on bringing new alternative external data into that analysis. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so one of our, newer use cases, but, higher priority ones, of course, is, all of this return to work and digitizing the workforce, right? Really understanding where our employees are, how we could potentially get them back safely at a point where it makes sense. And so some of that data is internal, but a lot of it is external, right? Around some of the COVID hotspots. And even, beyond that, what we're looking around is like employee data, right? Because there's been a lot of transition of employees, where they live, where they're moving. So really understanding, that data set, which ThoughtSpot's really been, partnering with us, is bringing in the ability to get, that hotspot data, right, across different countries, right? So we have a focus in a lot of our, countries outside of the U.S. And so it's, of course, the John Hopkins data set, and then we have India data sets, we have Europe data sets, and all kind of marrying it together and linking it together with our HR data, our time and attendance data, so that we can kind of figure out, one, how to bring everybody back safely, but if we also have some type of hybrid model, what does that look like for us, and what are the skills and people that we need in different locations, and are they available? So it started with a return to work kind of initiative, but it's kind of mushroomed even to like employee productivity and employee safety initiative as well.
Yeah, huge. That's so important. And as you look ahead, what are your hopes for ThoughtSpot? Where are you taking it next? Will the cloud have a role in this?
Yeah, so we are really excited, about the cloud initiative, because I think that's where we're seeing almost the whole world headed. So it's good timing for us, because it gives us an opportunity to kind of align our internal enterprise strategy of, cloud adoption, a big piece of that being, different platforms like, Snowflake and Hadoop, and kind of understanding that transformation on the data set combined with the analytics.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to take an enterprise-wide. I mean, I'm not going to discount the effort it's going to take, because it's going to take an enterprise-wide effort for us to kind of go on this journey.
1%. Start with the first 1%. I know
Yes.
Grant. I know our customer success team will be reining you in there. Just get started, and you'll get.
We eat the elephant one bite at a time. So
yeah.
And we're excited because, like I said, it's for us, it's perfect timing, because we're already kind of, I think like most companies, moving on that journey of transition and modernization. So this will just be another lever in the chain.
Okay, Raj, you've given me another tweet. Eat that elephant one bite at a time. Let's see what people on social media, what questions we have on LinkedIn. Is there a case study for Flex using ThoughtSpot available online? From Grace. Thank you, Grace. I think I should know this cold, but I'm not sure even I know that cold. Do you know, Raj?
I don't know. I know we have a few. I know we've been at a few conferences, and we've done a fair amount of presentations, but we can definitely be happy to share any information with anybody, that's on the call.
We'll check. And I'll also say the Flex on using data and analytics in the supply chain. Flex has a number of great blogs on that. Comment from Minal. So she also likes this. Data at the speed of a tweet. Perfect. Is it a dynamic dashboard? Noreen is asking.
Yeah. So the way, I mean, and I know I use some of the lingo, and they warned me not to. So, but
no, you can. Well, don't worry. Lisa's going to educate everyone in a minute.
Yeah. So it's really great, because what you do is you essentially create the pinboard or a dashboard, and then it becomes dynamic, right? So if you want to, you can freeze it, right? But if it really allows you to give the flexibility to user to drill up and down, and give the flexibility to the end user.
And then from Rod, how do you mitigate the risk of users creating dashboards on data they don't understand? Isn't it dangerous to have people make decisions based on misleading dashboards? Sorry, Rod.
Oh, challenging question. So yes, I think that's where I've told my team, where we still play an integral part, because you still need the right data governance, you still need the right data model to ensure that the data is clean and accurate that's being presented to the user. And I think the speaker before also mentioned, right, training is a big part of it, right? We cannot discount that training and adoption is a key element. But I think you have to have your subject matter experts involved to ensure that the data integrity is there, and you cannot get to an answer that you should not get to.
Yeah, and train on the data, less on the tool, which we spend too much time. I think the other thing, but you confirm or deny, it's that ThoughtSpot is totally server-based. So it's democratized data with guardrails and governance, not desktop. But you can confirm or deny.
No, agreed.
Okay, so from Ivan, how do you overcome the user reception challenges because of the culture mindsets?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because I think culture and adoption is probably the hardest part. People are used to doing what they've been doing for X amount of years, right? This is the way I've done it. It's worked. There's a few folks that are like looking for something better, but a lot of people, it's I've done it in Excel, or I've done it in XYZ tool. Why should I adopt that? At least from a finance perspective, that's my biggest challenge, right? But I think the adoption comes into when you prove out the value and the speed, and it for us it's been kind of almost a light clicks, right? When you actually show them real time that you're no longer actually having to do 3 extra steps, that you're no longer frozen here, that you don't actually have to wait for this or wait for that, and that's where the ad hoc nature and the ML AI engine have really transformed what our user adoption used to be with the other tools. Because it used to be, it's okay, it looks more fancy, but what am I getting as value? With Thoughtspot, it's that drill capability, that ability to keep the conversation going, and that ability to keep it ad hoc, right? Even something as simple as changing graphs and colors, right? My team used to get bottled down, and somebody wants a bar chart and a line chart, have at it.
People don't like their jobs. Like, is that really value added? Let them tweak it on their own. We need your skills working on bringing in more data. So Leon is asking, how did you go about aligning the business to a singular BI tool? And did you?
So, I mean, I don't think that was our vision. I think we always believe there will be a few players in the pot. We always think Thoughtspot so far has been a complementary tool to our other BI tools. Now we have displaced certain dashboards, and we've had certain use cases where we explored and we did not displace. Honestly, so I think our vision is we don't want 20 tools. We don't want we want a core set of foundational tools. I don't know what that number is. Our CTO can kind of answer that for us. But I think the tools need to have their place and their right use case, and make sure they complement each other and that you don't have duplication. Right. I think that was our number one driver, is to make sure that if we have a tool, it's servicing something specific that is providing value.
Yeah, value and no duplication. Great advice, Raj. Thank you so much for always so willingly sharing your time. I encourage people to connect with Raj on LinkedIn.